Welcome back, friends. If you're new here, hi, my name's Kimberly, and I'm the owner-founder of Drip from the Crypt products. We mainly specialize in horror and spooky and pop culture themed candles and apothecary, with our signature item being our marbled candles. I also like to pop up here on YouTube and just detail my journey as a small business owner. And I just like to teach you guys things that I have learned along the way. So today we're gonna be talking about something super exciting. Today we're actually going to be covering how to create a two-toned marble candle. So I don't know if you've watched any of my other videos. We do specialize in like a marbled candle. And originally I was only marbling with either one or two colors, but the base of the candle was white and I was just marbling in one color. So what I've been experimenting with recently is actually doing what's called a two-tone marble candle. This is our new candle, Bad Witch Vibes. And so the base of the candle, like the main primary color, is actually like a light pink. So you can see there, the main color is a light pink. So you can see there. And then with the two-tone, you actually come in with a darker color. And so in this case, we did a darker, like pink, kind of like a corally color. I know there's a little bit of a glare there. Yeah, I love two-tone products. Like I love when I see marketing with like two-tone, like a light beige with like a dark beige. It really just softens the overall look and it's just very aesthetically pleasing, which is why we've been experimenting with this so far. So in addition to this one, we're actually releasing this new scent as well. This is Life is a Peach and Then You Die. So this is of course a peach flavor. So the base color is a light orangey, kind of like a peachy copper color. And then I went in and did a darker orange, kind of like a dark copper for the actual marbling. And as you can see here, I actually tried to match the marbling with the actual label just so it looked very aesthetically pleasing while accentuating like the scent profiles, while still like just kind of all coming together in a nice, cute, vibrant little package. So the reason why I marble my candles, it's honestly just for aesthetics. I'm very creative. I really like bright colors. I really like my product to like shine bright, which is why we actually have been doing a lot of the marbling and I really like to experiment. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and show you today how to do a two-tone marble candle, and let's go ahead and hop right into it. So the actual candle making process in general is going to be exactly the same as you normally do it. You're gonna go ahead and have your wax melted and prepared. Pour that, and then you're going to go ahead and add your fragrance oil, all the standard amounts. So the difference with the two-tone candle, however, is when you're adding the dye. In general, you're going to want your base color to be lighter than the actual color that you're marbling at. You're going to want to be very sparing with the amount of dye that you're adding to the candle. So a good way to test it and to see what color your wax is going to look like once it's cured, because right now your wax is melted. So of course it's going to look a little bit darker, but once it cures, it's actually going to get a lot lighter. So easy way to test that is to actually go ahead and mix the dye in, and then you're going to take your spoon or your mixing ladle, whichever. You're going to take it out and you're just going to dabble a little bit on a piece of paper towel or a napkin. Make sure that it's white, because that color that comes off and transitions onto that piece of paper is actually going to be very similar to what the color of your cured candle will be once it's all cured and dried and everything. Okay, so once you have your desired color, go ahead and pour it in your candles. Yep, go ahead and pour as standard. So next up in this batch, I'm actually doing our peach and our copper ones as well. So same thing, you're going to go ahead and add your dye. And really just less is more in this. You want to add a little bit, mix, and check. Add a little bit more, mix, and then check the color. Because last thing you want is to make it too dark and then you don't get the result that you want and then you're bummed out. So don't want to do any of that. Okay, so now all of our candles are poured. Next, we're going to go ahead and let them cure. So it really depends on how much time I have. So I have allowed candles to cure for literally just a couple hours and then I've gone back in and marbled. Sometimes I've let the candle cure for 2 weeks and I went and marbled. It really depends on your wax, and it really depends just on the time crunch. So in my experience, as long as the candle is completely dried through, so no liquid at all on the inside. I've been able to marble it no problem. I will say that I use coconut apricot wax, and so the curing time on my candle is a lot less than, like, I know soy has a really long curing time of like 2 weeks. Just coconut wax, I'm not sure. Like, my wax is very soft and it has a very fast curing time, so haven't had any issues with curing mine for like 1 day and then going back into marbling them. So I would experiment with your candles. If your wax is temperamental, of course, proceed with caution on how fast that you marble them. But honestly, you really shouldn't have too much of an issue. So the first step in the actual marbling process is that you need to heat up your wax and your jar. So I will use a heat gun. Please be very, very careful with your heat gun. Don't set it down unattended and leave it. Be very careful that you're always holding it. So I will hold it approximately like 6 to 10 inches away from the jar of the candle. Never, ever, 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 ever let your heat gun touch your glass jar because your jar will explode. You don't want to do that. And then also be very careful that you do not overheat your glass, because if you keep the heat gun on the jar for too long, your jar could crack, which that has happened to me for a couple, and then on the more extreme end, it could explode. So you don't want that as well. I also always wear goggles when I'm doing this, just in case, because I want to protect my eyes. I'm very freaked out about my eyes. So always safety first, always remember that. And so also when you're in this process of just heating up the wax, you always want to be constantly rotating the jar. So you don't want to leave it on any one spot for too long. So you want to be constantly rotating it. So what I'll do is I'll probably have the heat on it for 5 seconds on one side and then I'll rotate. Heat on it for 5 seconds and I'll rotate. So I'm honestly constantly rotating the jar so the entire jar gets even heat distributed around it. So I will do this process until the candle is heated through so that it's getting a little bit liquidy on the exterior, but not completely liquidy. So if you can see this candle here, it's not completely liquefied so that it's just like swirling all over the place. It's honestly just soft enough so I can get the color in there easily, and it's like a little bit liquidy. And so the way that you get the color in there is you'll want to find some type of instrument. So as you can see, I use barrettes or like a hairpin. They're clean, of course, but you could go to the store and buy them, or you could use like a paper clip, anything that's really small that'll allow you to get dye on it and poke it inside the candle. But so what you'll do is you'll cover that in dye, and I'll always blot it a little bit. You don't want too much, but you want enough to get like a really nice rich color. And then you will poke it inside the candle towards the exterior, so towards the edge, so that it's right next to the glass. And then I try to aim it in like a diagonal just to kind of help complement like the swirling shape that we're going to get in the end. And then for a candle, it depends on the size. I try to do 3 separate little blots of dye. So as you can see, I'll do 1, I'll turn it a little bit, I'll do 2, and then I'll turn it a little bit again, and then I'll do a 3rd one. I just find for my size jar and my candle that allows a perfect amount of like marbling and still like enough of the original base color so that it's not too muddy. If you have a really large candle, you could do more. And if you have a smaller candle, you can do less. So it's really just up to you, the size of your jar and what kind of design you're going for. Like, I'll actually spin the candle. So as you see, I'm spinning it kind of fast right here. I do that because I like my marbling just to kind of really get that good swirly effect. So honestly, just by twirling the candle gently around and around, I can get that effect. Someone had recommended that I get a Lazy Susan. I will plan on getting like a Lazy Susan of some sort, but you know, there's just so many things that I'm constantly buying for the business. So that's definitely on my list. I just haven't gotten it yet. Just be careful that when you're spinning it, you don't like fling it into the other candles or fling it onto the floor, because I've gotten close. I haven't actually done that in particular yet, but believe me when I say I've gotten very close. I've probably done every little oopsie you can imagine when it comes to making candles, but that's the creative process. You know what I mean? Okay, so these two candles are completely cured. They are dry and they are hardened. So as you can see, the base color is very light, has a wonderful pop of color. And then as we see, our marbling that we did is nice and dark, and just swirly and kind of sporadic and just really adding like a really nice pop of color. So after that, so after everything is dried and cured, you'll probably notice that your candles have like some remaining wax on the outside or maybe some dye. So you'll want to go in and just take like a paper towel or some Q-tips and just go around and give it a good cleaning before you put your label on. This is more of a messy process. You'll notice you'll probably have dye on your hands, and your clothes and probably your countertop spaces. So if you're worried about that, wear gloves, wear dark clothing that you don't mind gets dirty, and definitely cover up your counter spaces. So when I'm adding my label to my candle, I'll actually look around it and I will find an area that has the least amount of squiggles, least amount of marbling, just so I'll focus it on that area. But yeah, I definitely take a good hard look at my candles to see exactly where I want it to be placed. I want the front to have a little bit of a squiggle and I want the back to have some of the squiggly marbles on that. So yeah, I'll honestly just like look around and I'll find the perfect spot. And there we go. Look at that. So there are our marbled candles looking so bright, vibrant, and pretty. Yeah, like I mentioned, this is purely for aesthetics. It doesn't make the candles smell any worse or less, honestly. But yeah, I just like having a big touch of color and I like my candles to be vibrant. And it really allows me to play around with like the color theory and the scent profiles and yeah, just different color schemes. All right, guys, I think that's just about it for today. Yeah, I really just wanted to hop on and show you the actual process of creating a two-toned marble candle. I'm really not going to cover too much in this video. I really didn't want to cover too much in this video about like what colors to choose and color theory and my whole process in that aspect. I'm definitely going to do more videos in the future of that, but today I specifically just wanted it to be on the process of creating a two-tone marble candle and just the marbling process in general. I'm trying to keep my videos a little more short and sweet, so I will definitely do more videos on like color theory, choosing colors to accent the actual scent profiles in your candle, and making it all mesh together in a nice pretty package. And I'll cover like what colors not to mix and match and just things that have not worked for me. I'll cover that in a different video. But yeah. So thank you so much for joining me here today. I really appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoy this type of content, please feel free to go ahead and hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel. It's really helpful and I love coming and talking with you guys every single week. If you have any questions or any suggestions or if you want me to cover anything at all, feel free to pop it in the comment section below because I'm totally happy to cover everything. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. It is Wednesday right now. I'm actually going to get these videos out because I'm going to be hanging out with some family out in Palm Springs for the weekend. I have family visiting. A lot of my family is from the East Coast, so they are coming out. So I'll be doing that all weekend. And then I will be back next week with more videos. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.